All right, so what I'm going to do here is show you three different alternate ways of doing a reaction or take or a squash and stretch in reaction. Keep the first one really, really simple. So what we're going to do is you're just going to stay on this layer one here. I'm recording this, so I can put this on YouTube. It's not going to be that long. I'm only going to take about a half hour or so. And I'll do three different variations of this. The one that I've been showing you has all the mechanics, it has all the stuff in there. Um, and I did take 2 weeks, I went through it, but let's just do this one um, for you. So I'm gonna pick just a blue color, it's a regular blue color. Um, I'm gonna just pick, this is gonna be really simple. So I'm just gonna pick like a head shape. I'm gonna just draw a head shape here on the stage. Um, and I'm gonna put a medial line in the head shape. I'm gonna draw a little bit of a line of action here. You can see the neck and the body. All right, so it looks similar to the other one. We're just gonna keep this really simple here. I'm gonna actually give him some eyes so that we can see the relative place where the action happens. And remember, we talked about this a little bit about just um, making sure that the pupils don't float in the middle because your character will look crazy. Um, and if I didn't say that to you before, I'm realizing that I might have said that to my pre-production class. What I mean by that is that when you look at any any drawing of Homer Simpson, he's nuts. And the reason that he's nuts is because both of the pupils in his eyes don't touch anything. And you look at him and like his left eye looks like it's floating. And that it's a really great way to make your character insane. It's always good to either lock them both down or have one or the other uh, just floating. All right, so this is going to be my neutral drawing here. In this layer here, I'm just going to increase the duration by 12 frames is half a second, 18 frames is 2/3 of a second. And we're just going to leave it about 2/3 of a second. And I'm going to add a drawing afterwards. I'm going to use this same basic, simple setup here. And we're just going to crash right into our stretch, our squash. So, and I know that one of the best things you can do is use the arc of the face like this, because basically what you're doing is his head is going down. So so this midline is going to go down a little bit. The top of his head is going to be about right here. So it's going to stretch out. It's going to squash out a little bit. It's going to become more circular. It's going to squash out just a little bit. It's going to move into the down position. You can see I'm kind of thinking with my pencil. Medial line is still there. Now this medial line is here. So this is where the eyes are closed. And we're going to use the South Park version of just the little arrows that are pointing at each other, a little nose. Remember here that the shoulders can come up. So his shoulder, so this line for his shoulder comes up, and that his elbows can come out, both elbows, so that makes his body look stretched a little more. Like this. I'm just going to go there. And we're going to decrease the exposure of this to just 2 frames. And then we're going to add a drawing after. We're going to increase our onion skin just a little bit because I want to see where the drawing was that we started, because now we're just going to blast into our stretch. So, so again, this arc right here isn't just a principle of animation, it's driving our force. This is the original shape of his head. Is going to go a little bit higher here. So it's going to go higher and it's going to be stretched. So we're going to go like this. And then the line of action is going to be a little straighter. The body is going to be stretched. The hands are going to come back down. They're just going to be as straight as they can be. The shoulder is going to come even below where it was to begin with. So then now we see his neck. We'll use the line of action to draw his neck. Midline is going to be here now. And now the eye is going to be up. And he's going to be just crazed, his nose. And, you know, so then we're going to go and add a drawing after this. And we're going to increase the exposure by this just to 16, 18 frames or so. And so now we're going to use that very first drawing as a guide. So I'm going to bring it back up. So we see that this is that first keyframe right here. So we're just going to bring his head in, media line, the eyes. And remember, this is basically in the same position. There's just a change of expression. So now he's going to have his mouth like really wide open. What? And we're going to go back and look at the shoulders. We're right here. So we're using this line for the shoulders. He's got his little neck. And let's go back and look at that drawing. Instead of just looking or copying and pasting this, it's kind of flipping the drawing like you would do in 2D. And then going here and saying, okay, so this is where his shoulders were. This is where his belly was. And let's just see if we can get the 4 drawings there to read. So that's a good medium take. See how it's working, everybody? All right, so I'm going to stop that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it even more simple for you. I'm going to make a new file. Now I've got 3 Rough Animator applications open. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a ball. Actually, I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to take 2 eyes that would literally be in the dark, just like we saw in The Cat Came Back. And I'm just going to take these guys right here and I'm going to copy it. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to hold this drawing for at least a second. And I'm going to add a drawing after. And I'm going to take that one and I'm going to bring it back down to 2. Oh, 2. I'm going to paste it. So it's right on top of it. But I'm going to move it down. And I'm going to squish it and stretch it and squish it and stretch it some more and even some more. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more. All right, and then I'm going to add a drawing after. And for this one, I'm going to paste it again. And now I'm going to stretch it and pinch it and stretch it. Oops. And that's on 2. So I'm going to add a drawing after. I'm going to paste the very first drawing in there. I'm going to extend exposure all the way out to 18 frames or so. And let's just see what this one looks like. All right, you see how that's working? I mean, it's just that simple. So remember that on this drawing, we would need to fix his eyes. So his eyes need to be closed right here. All right, let's take a look at it again. All right, see that? It's not just a blink. It's like his eyes are, his whole reaction is happening just with the idea of squash and stretch. So that's just the eyes. All right, go back to the other one. So I'll move this out of the way just a little bit. So this is the whole body, right? All right, so now what I'd like to do is go back to my example here. And let's see if we can get this dynamic working for this guy. just in the 7 drawings that that John Hallis and Harold Whitaker have. So in a new file here, we're going to make another one. And so I'm going to keep this open here, and on my computer I can just tab over and look at it. We're going to start, and this guy's going to be faced a different way. This eye's going to be also purple this time. And so again, we're looking for a normal neutral pose on the focal points, on the left focal points. We're going to use, oh, that's not the best. So I'm going to use just an oval for the head. Remember that the line of action is, it's always a good place to start. Back over, see what kind of body he's got. You know, it's always a good thing to put some shoulders in there. Put the midline where his buttons of his shirt are going to be. Give him like a little bean shape of a body. That's a good little body. He's going to have a little deltoid, maybe a little deltoid over here. His arm is straight down, maybe a little curve to it. The other arm is kind of just hanging back there a little bit. So his belt would be like right here. That would be his neck. This would be his midline, and his eyes are going to cross. Let's get the body dynamic working. All right, so we're gonna extend this out 8 frames or so. Just leave it there. Add a drawing after. Let's take a look at this drawing. So we're going into the stretch on the squash. So we're gonna have a keyframe on drawing 1, a keyframe on 5. That's why it's circled. A keyframe on 9. That's why it's circled. And a keyframe on 13. That's why it's circled. So, but we're going to do this passing drawing really quickly because we are only drawing the basic mechanics. So, and if you want, on this drawing, you can see that he's bending forwards. So on this drawing, get the little arc of motion. Remember, arc of motion is a principle of animation. And get his head to come down just a little bit. Just bring his head down. Bring that medial line down. Remember, his shoulders are moving down, but they're technically moving up. And so get that line of action, squish, so his head's going down. His shoulders are starting to come out a little bit. So his arms are coming out just a little bit. His body's going to undergo some sort of squash as well. We don't see too much of the away arm, but we can bring it up just a little bit. All right, now let's add a drawing after. And again, now we can see all 3, our onion skins open. And now bring the squash drawing about down as far as you did with the intermediate breakdown position. So this is your squash. This is your big squash drawing. Midline, bridge of the nose, shoulders are up a little bit. And in this drawing here, the shoulders are really canted. There's a nice little curve right there. His hands are here, block in his hands with just a circle. Go back and look at it. His body's actually turned the other way now. It's curved, which is fine. You can do that. And the away arm is up and right here. Add a drawing after. All right, so take a look. So now we're passing. So we're passing into the stretch position, and he's going backwards. So remember this arc. So now he's going to go back upwards now. So almost where this drawing was. So now he's going to start moving up, and there's going to be a little bit less of a squash here. Midline, midline. Shoulders are coming down a little bit. Check the hands. You can't see the hands here too much, but we can guess just by looking at this drawing that the hands on the 5th key are really straightened out, that the hands are going to have to come down. So bring this hand about here, bring the shoulder, the elbow. It was curved this way, so bring it, favor that a little bit. Bring this hand down a little bit, elbow, a little bit of a neck. Add a drawing after. And now we do have it open all the way so we can see. So this is where we can really play with the stretch. And again, we're just looking at this kind of arc of motion backwards. A big stretch here. We're going to put the media line for his eyes this way. All right, and then you can see that there's a back arc. So his body is now fully line of action this way. So his head is here, his shoulders are down, his arms are straight down. So 1, 2, 3. So bring the arm just like this. Bring this arm all the way down. Make the nice arc on the body. We'll go back and put like a little expression on him here in a second. All right, so that's drawing number 9. That's our 5th drawing. Now we need to do a passing drawing back into a change of expression. So we're going to add a drawing after. And we can see where we're going here. So we're going to come back down a little bit. This is a breakdown, so there's still a little bit of stretch in this drawing. Add the media line. Look at his hands are beginning to be a little bit more relaxed. So they're breaking now. They're coming back out. So so the shoulders coming back up a little bit, and they're coming back. So look at the track on the arms. And the line of action is going to start coming back to more of a front shape. So this arm is going to come back here. Let's add a drawing after. And this drawing now is this drawing. So that's our drawing 13. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drawings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drawings. So this drawing is in almost the same key position. Jason, that was you. Jason, you've got your computer and your iPad doing a harmonic feedback. All right, so we're gonna stay right in this front key position. Let's take a look at where that key position was. We're gonna hit it. We do have our onion skin open the whole way, and so we want to hit this basic key position. Go back and look and make sure it's roughly in the same place. Remember, there's going to be a big change of expression on here. Look at where his shoulders were. They were right here. So he's going to have this kind of line of action. His body's going to be a little bit more forward. Go back and look. I mean, you don't have to copy and paste it. Just remember where you were. All right. So let's just take a look at what we've got. I'm going to take this exposure and let it go all the way out to the full 18 frames. And let's play this. So it looks like he's doing a little hiccup there, right? So just go through it frame by frame. He's going down into the squash, passing into the stretch. Eyes are big, right? And then he's returning back into a normal key. I think that this drawing here is a little funky. So he's stretched, but I think that he should be more stretched here. And let's take a look at this where he gets back into this position. I think that his head could even be more stretched here because it looks like there's a little bounce in there. So remember that it's got to be coming down. It's got to look like it's coming down. So it was like a little error in the bounce right there. So that's a really cartoony take, just based on just the Hallison Whitaker. All right, so, and you can, like I said, Jason, you can try this one, which is much more elaborate and just trying to emulate those key positions there. So a couple of things for you to think about. His neck disappears right there. Just a couple of things for you to think about, just how easy it can be, just how simple it can be. Let's do even one more where the character is just in a normal, neutral position. deltoids. So relaxed kind of arm. All right, so this take right here is actually fairly cartoony. You know, his motion down into the squash position and the stretch position are pretty elaborate. But on this one, what I'm thinking of doing here is just making it really subtle, because we've already talked about the cartoony nature of this. So let's just take this guy, make him a little bigger. And we're going to just kind of look at more of a subtle take on this one. So this one's going to be 18 frame hold, drawing after. We're going to limit this to maybe a 4 frame reaction. Now we're just going to make the head go down a little bit. I don't have to, oops, I'm in the wrong tool. So I'm just going to bring his head down and forwards just a little bit. Kind of putting a little bit of squash on it, not a lot. Bring the midline down. Bring maybe the shoulders just up just a little bit. Maybe this arm just out just a little bit. And you can see how subtle that a take can be. All right, let's do the stretch now. And then this stretch is just going to go up just a little bit. Just a little bit of stretch, not too much, just a little bit. It can be very subtle. It doesn't have to always be so cartoony. All right, so shoulders down, body in. This is the stretch. Just a little bit. You can even squash those little parts. You can even stretch this little part if you want. All right, and then the drawing after. Let's increase this, oops, by a bunch of frames. It's for a hold. Now we're trying to hit that normal position where we started from, to go back and look at it. I mean, you could even just do that. You could say, let's just cheat and grab this puppy, copy it, paste it, and just see if you can, paste it and alter the expression maybe just a little bit. So let's put just some facial features on here. So this is the bridge of the nose. So there'd be an eye about right here and an eye about right here. Let's just do the eyes. Keyframe squash, he's blinking here. And there's other ways of drawing the blink. This is just a really easy way of doing it. And then this is where his eyes are a little bit further open. Like, whoa, stretch those eyes. No pupils right now, and then back to normal. So our eyes were here. Study it, and so his eyes are here. This is a change of expression. So make the mouth open a little bit. And see how that one looks. All right, so put the mouth on him. So he's just got a normal neutral mouth, a normal nose. Just give him a little triangle for a nose. This is the squash, I'm sorry. So he's going to be a little, what? And then here his mouth is going to be open. What? Pupils. And his eyebrows are still up. Nose is regular. All right, so let's put the eyebrows in as normal, neutral eyebrows, normal pupils, normal mouth, kind of a smile. Right, squash, put the eyebrows down if you want. That might be the thing that really exaggerates it more than anything. Now the eyebrows are up. And then more back down to neutral. Change of expression. All right, so there's a jump at the end. It looks weird that he goes from that to that. You know, we didn't expect that. I'm going to turn the loop off. All right, so I've given you a couple of examples there about how simple it can be and how very simple it can be. And you see that a lot of times. And then how complicated it can be with a head turn, a double take, squash and stretch. All right, so I think there's even one more I can show you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another layer here. I'm going to take the layer that we had and turn this one off. And all I'm going to do right here is take a basic shape and I'm going to hold it for a bunch of frames. 18 frames. 16 frames is 2/3 of a second. Then I'm going to add a drawing after. And I'm going to stretch this one. I'm sorry, squash this one. All right, I'm going to limit this to just 2 frames, maybe 3 frames. Add a drawing after. We're going to stretch this one. Sometimes I just do this example in class by just holding up an object and just taking the object and moving it around. I'm going to stretch this a little more. I'm going to go back to drawing 1. I'm going to steal drawing 1, copy it here, add a drawing after. Increase this one to just 16 frames as well. Paste it, and it can really just be this simple. See how it's working? Whoop. It's just like a quick little reaction. Squash, stretch,